We have an update about a decision concerning a proposed development in the Ash community of Brunswick County tonight.
The county planning board voted to deny the plans for the Ashton Farms development. The development would have brought almost 3,000 housing units to the area. WECT's Ashley Balsavius went to the meeting tonight and has details.
It was a full house tonight at the Brunswick County Planning Board meeting. Staff heard public comment for almost 3 hours before making a decision about the proposed development in Ash. Vice Chairman Joy Easley made the motion to deny the development as a means to preserve the heritage sites and the wetlands in the area. The Planning Board unanimously sided with her, and it was a pleasant surprise to the crowd of Ash residents who spoke in opposition to the development about everything from a lack of infrastructure to the impacts it would have on the environment. While developers said it could be positive for the community by bringing more restaurants and retail locations to the area, that argument was not enough to convince the planning board to go through with the decision. I caught up with some people after the meeting to hear their thoughts.
I'm really excited that they listened to us. They actually listened to our concerns and our fears and what we want as a community and what we need.
Overall, I'm happy about the decision that it didn't go through. Maybe we need a national park rather than a new development.
Now, one resident I spoke with tonight says she's concerned that the developers and engineers will come back with a different plan, but she says they're already prepared to fight back when and if that happens. Reporting in Brunswick County, Ashley Balsavius, WECT News.